Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you go to our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Here are all of the information you need to know. Go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're everywhere you need to be. Alrighty. I think our camera's crooked, but what else do you expect from this show? Okay, what do you want to talk about first?
I'm trying to figure out what the hell you're doing over here.
I'm logging in and getting set up. I'm doing my job.
I'm already logged in and set up. Why are you not logged in and set up?
You know, I'm trying to be like you normally when you're just messing with everything.
No,
and noises come out.
Even normally when I have the noises stuff coming out, I'm still in. You're the one that's still always logging in.
These are lies. Lies and madness. Here we are. See, I'm logged in. I'm ready to go. I don't know what you're talking about, boo.
I'm a 45-year-old man. Why are you calling me boo?
You're my boo.
I'm not your boo.
Why don't you want to be my boo?
My aunt's been calling me boo since I was a little kid. Now you're calling me boo, and I'm not confused by the connotation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Because she referred to me as Boo Bear when I was a little kid.
Husband.
So when I see my aunt, she says, "Hi, Boo." Now you're saying, "Hey, Boo," and I don't know who's in love with me now.
Oh, I love you.
Maybe my aunt's in love with me.
I'll just call you hello, husband.
I call you wife.
I know. I'm pouring this out because I don't want to eat any of the blueberries. I just want the cranberries. Today, guys, I'm eating something healthy instead of just crap.
Look, I look like I've been through a war.
I'm having nutrition mix.
I look like I've been through a war.
Not a sponsor.
Look at my hair.
Well, I didn't want to say anything.
Well,
you can eat the blueberries.
I got home from class, and then I got lazy around, so I didn't.
Thanks for my snacks.
I was sweaty today at class, so I didn't fix my hair or anything. But I'm wearing my shirt. Look at my shirt. Whoop whoop
whoop whoop. I don't even know what that means, but okay.
It's another shirt I got from my pal that's Howard Stern references. This has a dual thing reference though, because this is Howard Stern reference for us.
Yeah.
But it's actually from Twisted and the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh.
Because when the Juggalos, they have the gathering of the Juggalos together, they go to interviews and they always go whoop whoop.
No, not loudly. Whoop whoop.
No, you gotta do it a little bit. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Close enough. And that's why I now have a whoop whoop shirt, because they played on the thing and anyway, moving on.
All right then.
So today we don't have a whole lot to talk about because we got busy. She was doing something with church on Friday. I was at the tail end of a deadline and I was trying to get finished. And so we didn't get to go see a lot of stuff.
I'm looking at my things to be prepared.
That's the crap you're looking. Okay. So we only saw one movie in the theater. I have one Blu-ray I saw, and then I find out today, has another movie she watched that I wasn't aware of, which means she didn't watch something else she should have been watching.
Well,
but that's okay for this time. I won't kill your face. I'm over here watching her figure out how to spell Penelope.
This is the one I was thinking. To get me to where I'm going, I'm going.
Why are you talking about Penelope? That's an old ass movie.
That's not where I'm going. I need to get to her.
I'm watching Christina Ricci. Why didn't you just type in Christina Ricci?
Because I forgot her name. But I'm trying to keep the show going. Is this a blueberry or a cranberry?
I'm trying to keep the show going, and then you don't talk about blueberries. Anyway, so moving on. All right, what do you want to talk about? Why don't you talk about what weirdness you have going on over here?
Okay,
Since you're ready.
I got on a kick of Lifetime movies, which you know you should never do.
Because they're on Lifetime.
No, but then the way it works is when you roll on Lifetime, it just rolls to the next movie. It's like nonstop angry lady movies. But these were not angry women this time, thankfully.
They were just bad?
No. I saw a post on the Twitter from Julie Benz, who many of you may know, from
Dexter.
Buffy, Dexter, Hawaii Five-0. She's on another series now, but she posted that she was going to be in this Lifetime movie. So I was like, oh, I must check it out. So Lifetime.
So that makes more sense for you to watch because being a Buffy fan, I understand why you would go watch that nonsense.
So Lifetime is doing a series of books to film, and so they're doing the series of V.C. Andrews' Heaven. And so she's in the movie. So I watched the first part of it. It was actually really good. It's available now. If you have, I think, Amazon Prime, you can watch Lifetime. So it's V.C. Andrews' Heaven. It's about a girl named Heaven. And we find out some things happen with her dad and her mom. And all the family gets separated. And chaos is happening. And people are getting raped and beaten and dragged all over the place. This is just one of those movies. And it's basically following her story, and it's actually okay. I feel like if you read the books, it'd be better. It's one of those cases where
I just said something about how bad they were, and you're like, no.
Exactly.
And then she gets there and she goes, they're just okay.
You know why?
You basically is like half a step above what I just said.
No, because it's one of those instances where you can tell in the book, if you read the book, there's more time for this like one person to go from good to bad or bad to good. But it's like suddenly next scene, oh, I love you. I'm so sorry. So it's one of those where they just had to go really fast to get through the story.
That's like every 80s, 90s action movie.
Yeah.
Where they hate each other the next scene they're having sex.
Yeah, it's one of those, but it's interesting. And now that I've watched the first one, I've got to wait for next month or whenever when the second book comes out. So I'll be watching that too. I'll tell you all about it. But for right now, go check out.
You didn't tell us anything about this one.
If you're a fan of like Flowers in the Attic and all of our other novels, you'll
this is the worst review I've ever heard of.
No, it's good. It's good. It's a lifetime movie. It's what you expect.
I know,
lifetime to be. The little girl did a really good job. Which Julie Benz had been in it a little bit longer. Julie Benz, the guy that plays her husband, is rare. That's all you need to know. Watch it. It's good. High drama.
All your credibility just went out the window.
Did I ever have any
credibility? No, not at all.
There you go. So what do you expect?
You're just picking out blueberries?
I am. I don't like blueberries.
That's communism.
I actually don't like any of the berries, really. Blueberries, blackberries.
Walterberries.
Yeah, raspberries.
That's somebody we know with his last name, Berry.
I like strawberries.
Then you do like some of the berries.
Cranberries.
You like cranberries?
I don't like any of the dark berries.
Didn't you just jump at somebody else for saying dark things or colored joke online?
I know, that was a bad joke.
Anyway.
Moving on.
All right. Is that all you got?
No, I got another one.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
you're on a roll.
That movie ended and the next movie started.
Is this Lifetime again? If it just started, what else would you? A movie could have just started on a different network.
I think I don't know. Where do I see that?
Mrs. Unprepared doesn't even know what she's looking for.
Where do I see where it came on? How do I find that out then? Watch it now on Amazon Prime. I don't know who put it out.
Just talk about the damn movie.
Anyhow, I saw a preview for this, and I actually wanted to see it because it has Christina Ricci, who I actually like.
But you didn't know her name.
I forgot her name for a second.
You like her so much.
I remember she was in the Penelope Pig movie, which I really like. So anyway.
Okay, hold on. Back up. Hold on. Before we get further into that. Your only reference to Christina Ricci was the
she was in Addams Family.
The Penelope Pig movie.
Well,
that shitty-ass movie.
And it was so cute.
That movie is horrible.
It is cute. You guys don't even know.
But she's done the Addams Family.
I said Addams
Black
Family.
Snake Moan. She was in Monster.
I didn't see that.
You saw Monster? That's the Charlize Theron one.
I didn't see it.
And you saw Black Snake Moan. That's the one with Samuel Jackson's holding her in the chains.
I don't remember. I do remember. Justin
Timberlake is in it too.
I remember that.
Come on, get it together, sister. Anyway, go ahead with your movie that you chose up.
This is a really but I was interested in this story anyway. This is called "Escaping the Madhouse: The Nellie Bly Story." If you'll remember. There was a real life reporter who purposely got herself put into the insane asylum because she wanted to do. I'm excited. She wanted to do a story on what was going on there because she was hearing stories that women were just being thrown in there because nobody wanted them. And if you remember, there was that one season of, what am I thinking? The Scary Show? American Horror Story that focused.
I do this sometimes. I was just working out.
It was the season called Asylum, obviously.
She knew all the answers. You just gotta let her work it out.
I gotta work through it. Anyways,
you know what I find funny is this puppet doll behind you is looking over your shoulder. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Right. Look at his face. He's going, I know. He's watching you like he's confused.
So it was based on the true Blackwell Island Insane Asylum in New York. And
what island?
Blackwell. It's not called that anymore. Now it's like yuppie housing. like now. Anyways, it's interesting because the prison warden lady was Judith Light, who I love her as well too. Hadn't seen her in a long time. She is so creepy in this movie.
She's kind of gaunt looking now.
She is. And
I think she was sick. Didn't she have cancer, I think?
She might have.
I thought she had cancer at one point.
I think she did. But she did such a great job being mean and creepy and evil. And
she was like that on Who's the Boss.
And it was so true. Like the stories that were coming out were like, there was this one lady who was from Mexico. And just because she couldn't speak English, they threw her there. There was this one lady who was actually going through some postpartum depression after having her baby. And so the husband just threw her in there. or husbands that didn't want their wives anymore because they were going off with someone else, they would say, "Oh, she's in hysterics," and then they would throw them in the prison.
Sounds justifiable.
So they did treat these women horribly.
I don't like dried blueberries.
Do you not?
I like blueberries, but not dried.
They would just torture them. They would shave their heads. They would douse them in gasoline. I mean, they would do all sorts of just horrible things to them in the name of science and treating them. And so after she finally was able to get out and escape the island, Nellie Bly actually wrote a novel or a book about her experiences, became like a #1 bestseller. She exposed everything that was going on in there, and the island got shut down. So she actually made a difference, and I think made a big step in the treatment of mental health. So
she should have went and did an expose on the island of Dr. Moreau.
There you go. So it was actually a really good, well-done movie. If you're at all interested in that story, or if you saw the season of American Horror Story and you're interested in the real-life story, check it out. Christina Ricci does a really good job.
I don't think American Horror Story is based on that.
It was.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because remember the Lispy lady that got stuck in there.
Well, I'm aware of that, but I didn't know it was based on that same show.
It was loosely based on the true life story of this.
I got you.
Which it was horrific what happened to these poor women for no reason other than people just didn't want
Is this happening to women?
It was a woman.
Oh, well, that's completely justified.
Anyways, check it out. It's called Escaping the Madhouse, the Nellie Bly story. It's available now on Amazon Prime.
My shirt is like super wrinkly. Like it's got a lot of folds. It's like my body.
You're so weird.
It's like I'm wearing a shirt on the outside of my shirt that looks like my body. Like if you look at all the rolls in the shirt, you can imagine that's where the rolls on my body are.
This is not true at all. Yeah, you have no rolls.
I'm like rolling.
Whatever. Tell me about your movies.
All right, so the first one I went was just like Lifetime movies. It's called Ugly Dolls. I had a wholly different experience of movie films this week. None of that. You never sat down and watched this, despite me telling you to a few times. But you never got a chance to. We talked about on the show before about trying to see it when it came out. We never saw it. Winsomely appealing, says Owen Gleiberman.
I changed my water bottle. Okay.
Look, this is a cup we got. We were supposed to use. We have 2 of them for the Men in Black show, and we didn't do it. So we'll have to use them again when the Men in Black comes out on Blu-ray. Anyway, so we got Ugly Dolls featuring a really big cast of voices.
I know it has
Kelly Clarkson, Nick Jonas, Janelle Monáe, Blake Shelton, Pitbull, Wanda Sykes, Gabriel Iglesias.
I love Wanda Sykes' voice.
And some other people.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It is entertaining. I like the animation. I like the designs of all the little crazy characters and whatnot. When you get away from the ugly doll characters and you get to the more human-looking characters, they felt way more generic.
Yeah.
They weren't as inspiring, you know. And maybe
because it's focused on the uglies.
I'm aware, but maybe I'm thinking was hoping to see something that was a little more. I don't know, had a little more unique design to the normal characters. Not that they need to look weird, but to make them not just look like. But it is part of the story too, so it kind of makes sense. But to me, it just kind of felt off. Like you're dealing with these little fun-looking weird creature things, then you get into here, and then it's kind of But it is part of the story.
They're just way normal.
Music is okay. The voice acting is fine. It is a movie that very much felt like a little kid movie. Well, it did not feel like
that's our target audience.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is like a lot of these movies
have a thing for adults.
Yeah, the adult can enjoy it, whether it's based on the voice acting you like or the character is funny or some underscored adult humor. This one felt very much like a little kid movie. Like I'm surprised it got a PG rating and not a G rating. But I'm assuming because it gets a little dark a couple times. But it has a good story. It's dealing with, accepting who you are and being proud of who you are and some bullying aspects and that kind of stuff. So it's a good message and it's one that's good for kids. Adults will probably be like,
but take your kids, man. It's important.
Yeah, but it's a decent little movie. So if you want to check it out, it's available now from Universal.
How was it with Mr. Worldwide? Because he is not PG.
He's not what?
He is not PG. He nasty.
No, he's fine, but he's also very businesslike. He's all about doing stuff for schools.
On his music and stuff, he's a little bit risque.
Yeah, but he does a lot of stuff for schools and all this kind of stuff. So
I read a really good article about him.
He's fine in it. He's so distinctive, but his whole point is his character pops in and he's always like, immediately will break out into a song or a rap or something.
How was Kelly Clarkson?
She was fine.
And Blake?
He's fine too. They're
all very distinctive voices.
Yeah, the voices work for the characters they're doing, and it was just. But I think Nick Jonas is the human kid. Mm. But there's an interesting twist on the story and that kind of stuff and what they do.
Yeah, you're telling me.
So
it seemed really good.
Who's
this little girl? I
don't know who does her voice.
She's cute.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'll watch it.
It's a fun little movie, but it's nothing. It's like I said, it's not like watching Toy Story or something like that. It's one to me felt like it probably could have come straight to video as well, and I wouldn't have been surprised. The animation is good. It's got a lot of vibrant colors, but it is geared more towards, to me, in my opinion, more the smaller age kids.
That means I'll like it.
We'll probably love it. Yeah, because you watch Bubble Guppies.
I do. I love Bubble Guppies.
So anyway, Ugly Dolls is available now. Our contest, I believe, is already over, so I'm sorry if you didn't win a copy.
Okay.
Moving on. Jim Cotta. All right.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to start doing that every show now. I'm just going to bring up
Jim Cotta.
Jim Cotta.
Combining. What?
The explosive, was it?
Hi.
Hi. It was, hello, Singapore. It was how did they say, the dynamic, the dynamics of gymnastics combined with the explosiveness of karate. And the two come together to form an all-new martial art. Jim Cotta.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Kurt Thomas is Colt whatever. Anyway, moving on. So the next one we got to talk about is the biggest movie of the weekend.
Is it?
So it was number one.
You saw this little movie.
Is Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, which is the first spin-off film from the Fast and Furious franchise. If you don't know about the Fast and Furious franchise, then you've probably been living under a rock.
It's only been going on for like 9 movies or something.
Yeah, and it's a long time because there was a lot of space between some of those movies before it picked up again. So what I want to do is, since we didn't have a lot of other ones to talk about the franchise a little bit before we talk about the new one. Because they just either are filming or just wrapped the 9th film in the actual Fast and Furious franchise. They're doing 10 from my understanding. And that's supposed to be the end of it. So the latest one is clearly set up to pick up its own franchise that we'll discuss in a minute. Why did you pull up Jim Cotta?
Because I was looking at it.
Oh. So anyway, so if you've ever, I know a lot of people have seen some of the movies, have seen other ones. There's there's parts of the franchise that you can watch and not really have to see the other ones. But now, for the longest time, like when the first 3 movies were out, you could watch the first, second, and third one, and they really all be kind of their own movies, even though the second one is a sequel with Paul Walker, and there's no Vin Diesel, but it's still kind of touching base on the original stuff. The third one is its own monster altogether, minus the small cameo from Vin Diesel at the very end.
Yeah.
But all those movies were initially, it was kind of like Point Break, where it was about car racing. And then undercover cops and trying to figure out crime sprees and robberies and things like that.
Right.
So as the franchise has moved on, it's shifted gears into like heist movies. Now it's gone into espionage and spy.
Yeah, which I love
thrillers.
Spy movies.
So it's one of the few franchises that started off kind of as one thing, but it shifted into something completely different and bigger, and they've gotten bigger and better. Like I do not like the original movie.
You don't?
Well, thank you. I really am not a fan of the first Fast and the Furious movie. I never was. It's grown on me more now, connected to the rest of the franchise.
Yeah.
But when it came out, I remember going to the theater and seeing it. I remember the parking lot of the theater was filled with people with their neon cars and their hydraulics and their booming systems and things like that. But I was like, oh, these people are going to annoy me. And I came out of the movie, I was like, it was all right. It wasn't anything overly exciting. And then Too Fast, Too Furious came out, and I saw it, and I was like, it was okay. I actually liked Tokyo Drift best when those 3 were out because it felt different. It felt like they were
doing something different. Except for that country guy.
I liked him. That kid.
His voice was way too country.
Well, that's his real voice.
Well, no.
It is too.
And
I think he's coming back for part 9 because he showed up back in one of the other ones because he was directly connected to Han and stuff. So anyway, as the franchise has gone on, they added Dwayne Johnson to the mix, and that kind of shifted the tone. My girlfriend Gina Carano showed up in it. Then Ronda Rousey's been in it.
Yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez was killed off, but then she came back.
She came back. She wasn't dead, you guys. We were like, what?
Yeah, so she came back, and you know, and then you've had other people who've died off, and then you have different villains, and you have people that harken back to different things. So, like, we have Jason Statham now, but he was connected, and I think it was part 6 or 7, where he supposedly had, you find out that he was involved, responsible for killing Han, which we thought was just an accident during a race. And anyway, so it's kind of some small, some interesting things with the stories to tie all the movies together to make a bigger world.
Yeah.
And now here we are. So before we get to the new one, do you have one of the originals that's your favorite?
I'm trying to think.
But we didn't get a chance to marathon it like we wanted to.
Too Fast, Too Furious. I like the one where Letty comes back. So is that 6 or 7? 5?
Fast and Furious. I think it's 5.
Okay.
Or no, 4. Because Fast and Furious was when they brought the entire original cast back together.
Let's go look. Fast and Furious.
You look at the poster.
Yep, there she is.
All back together.
That's the one I like.
And that's when the tone started changing.
Yeah, a little bit.
That was almost like a reboot of the franchise without being a different film.
That's true. Yeah, that's the one where they go to Dominican Republic.
And the 2 crazy guys?
Yes. That's the one I like. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because we go somewhere different and we have the introduction of that other lady, the police officer, and it's like
Mrs. Hemsworth?
Mrs. Hemsworth. I think because we're now just not focusing on this, but we're helping other people. So you see that...
Well, they went from being...
They're a little crew.
Criminals and cops and robbers to helping someone else.
And I mean...
It gets more ridiculous with every movie. But,
I know, but you know that Dom has a good heart.
Yeah, well, that's the core of the entire franchise. You get tired of hearing it, because if you sit and count the amount of times they say family in these movies, it's ridiculously redundant. Mm-hmm. But it is. The core of all these movies is about family, whether it's, you know, the original film of their inner circle, whether it's about Paul Walker and his woman and their baby, or if it's about, you know, saving someone in the family, if it's about the crew, if it's about, you know, like, and that same thing kind of comes into Hobbs and Shaw. It got the family element as well.
It's about family. And I think that's what I really like about this one, because at the end, you know, everybody kind of comes back together, and it is more about just themselves. It's about the family and the idea that your friends are your family. And that's who you fight for. And then the whole thing with Letty coming back and trying to figure out what the heck happened with her, I think throws an interesting twist into the whole movie. So
I was more when The Rock joined the franchise, and it kind of shifted, not because he was in it, but it felt, of course, that was also the time when Gina Carano showed up too.
That's why you like it.
But to me, that's when it took it into the bigger heist films and the bigger things. And sure, it's silly that all of a sudden, you know, now The Rock was friends with him after that movie, and they all started teaming up.
It's Fast 5.
Yeah, so
right?
Yeah, 5 showed up.
The heist.
It just kind of
got a little unbelievable. In this one, you know, they're all a little unbelievable.
They've been getting more and more unbelievable every time. But the thing that I like about it is they know it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trying to pretend. Now, the Fast and Furious side hasn't got nearly as unbelievable as the Hobbs and Shaw side.
Mm-hmm.
With Hobbs and Shaw, just injected with adrenaline and cocaine and just took off.
Well, before we get to that, though, in Fast 5, my favorite part of Fast 5 is the ending, where they do...
Where they're all taking a nap?
No, where you see him and Brian have that one last drive, and they race, and they kind of like drive off into the sunset.
It's not 5.
Yeah, it is.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
He died during 5?
He died during 5.
I thought he died during 6.
So I like that because they give a little nod to Paul Walker, you know, and at least let us believe that him and Mia live happily on the beach with their baby, and he drives off into the sunset.
I swore that was 6.
It's 5. Fast 5. So I mean, that to me was a very touching ending, and I did appreciate that.
Well, because that means that's the one that Tony Jaa in it too. Then
Fast and Furious 6. Let's see, Fast 5.
Fast 5 had to be Tony Jaa, wasn't it? Hold on, we're doing research.
Forgot about her.
Tony Jaa's in that one because that's Paul Walker fights Tony Jaa.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the cast up here. Hold on. We're very important.
I'm there.
No, go higher. Why is he not on? Okay, well, whatever reason he's not on there. But anyway, because Tony Jaa fights him in the back of that truck.
Okay.
Fights Paul. So anyway, moving on because it has.
Gina Carano's in 6.
Season 6?
Yeah, that's the one where she has that cool fight with Letty in the subway stairs, which is a really good fight. I did like that one.
Well, Paul Walker's in there too.
Well, I think they had a little bit of it, didn't they?
Hold on, scroll up. Hold on. I think this is the one where he died.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever.
We're just gonna read this. You'll just take a nap or something.
Oh my gosh, you're dumb.
Scroll down. Go back. That's what I thought. I didn't see it. All right, moving on.
All right, we're moving on.
It doesn't matter. Tony
We're
Jaa
to the new movie. Let's get to the new movie. Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw.
I like that it says Fast and Furious Presents.
Well, because it's clearly part of the same universe, but it's also its own thing.
This movie gets crazy, though. There's some things I don't believe.
Well, there's a lot of things you don't believe in any of them, but in this one, I think purposely is more comic bookish.
This is crazy.
It's not trying to make you believe that it's real. It's saying let's go all in and let's just take it off, And I think the whole aspect of it is they're trying to create their own franchise and still be connected, because in this world, any of the other actors could show up if they ever wanted to, but they don't need them to.
Right.
Because they make reference to Mr. Nobody, which is Kurt Russell's character. And he's kind of the kind of character that can show up in every part of the franchise because he's kind of a government spy kind of thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie it's very much over the top. It's like
over the top.
It's like it's like to me it was very James Bond over the top, because James Bond would go crazy where he'd jump in a tank and then they had something to cut a tank open.
That's pretty much what this was. Yeah, it's true.
But it has also had some science fiction element to it.
I had a little bit of that.
So it's like every movie keeps getting more insane.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you think about everyone's performance in this new one?
Here's the thing: is I really had a blast with this movie, and it was the exact movie I expected to get. A lot of slow-mo walks away from explosions, a lot of one-liners, a lot of flexing muscles and fighting and like this movie is almost one long action sequence.
It is. With
just enough story and stuff to kind of hold it together. And they do not shy away from what the movie is.
Yeah.
They know what they're making.
Yeah.
And I think in this, some people I've seen writing reviews about it. What are you doing?
I got disconnected. I don't know why.
Oh, we're not even on over there anymore?
Yes, I am on.
I know some people that are not even, that have had problems with their review in relation to the relationship between Hobbs and Shaw, getting annoyed with their arguing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's what makes it work.
Mm-hmm.
Is to me, they felt like an old, unhappy married couple, but love each other.
Yeah.
Now the argument a lot of people still have, though, is the whole, why are we going to like Jason Statham's character Shaw because he killed Han? And,
that's what I'm saying.
But my issue is The Rock was not friends with Han. Han was not part of him. That was their group. I don't remember if Rock ever met Han.
Probably not.
Did he show up after Han, or was it during it? It might have been, no, because him and Gal Gadot was there. So The Rock was around, but he wasn't like close to him like these other people were.
Right.
So he had an issue with him more connected with the law than anything else, and then them just butting heads because they're both alpha males. They're basically nothing but toxic masculinity.
Totally. But it's okay. I liked it.
In the best way possible.
Yes. I liked The Rock. I always liked The Rock, but The Rock is just The Rock. But I feel like he's starting to expand his acting abilities now.
He has in some stuff. In this movie, he's still The Rock.
I mean, he's just The Rock, but seeing the preview for the other movie coming up, he's so...
Which one?
The new Jumanji.
Oh, where he gets... Well, he did that in the first Jumanji, too, where he got to play...
So cool. Playing
Danny DeVito.
Anyways, but no, and I like Jason Statham. I mean, he's Jason Statham. They both did
he is
what
Jason
you
Statham in
expect
every movie.
They did what you expect them to do. They show up, they look cute, they kick some butt. That's all they do.
I love that Jason Statham talks out of the corner of his mouth. Like, listen here,
I noticed that too. There's one scene where he's like talking to someone behind him. He's like,
he hardly turns his head. He always talks.
Like, why don't you just like turn your head?
But I think that's how he talks all the time. But maybe that's just his subconscious of turning, only tilted his head, or
maybe so.
Maybe it's an English thing. I don't know.
Idris Elba, what you think?
I was on the fence at first.
Oh, really?
Because I was like, I don't know if this is working. By the time it ended, I always liked Idris Elba and everything, but by the time it ended, I thought he did a good job. I'm not sure how I feel the fact that he was taking it so seriously and playing it so serious, which you needed to for the role, but where the other two seemed to be having a good time. And given his character's not a fun character, he should have been cracking jokes. But then when he did crack kind of smart-ass statements, to me, they felt flat. You know what I mean? But not in a bad way. He's still great. I thought he was great as a villain.
Yeah.
But it was just the kind of character he should have either been completely serious or been like them, to me.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have cracked any of the one-liners. So I think the one-liners kind of fell flat because his type of character didn't have any emotion, really, but still had a backstory. So it was an interesting Universal Soldier-ish type thing.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite people who you may not think, so I love Vanessa Kirby.
You didn't even know who she was.
Yes, I do.
You just went, where is she from? And then we looked it up, and you're like, oh, yeah. But now you love her.
She's from The Crown. And I do love her. I think she's really good.
She was in Mission Impossible as well.
She's in Mission Impossible, but that was so long ago.
Yeah, it was the last one, I think.
I can't remember. There's too many of those, too.
There's another one coming up.
That's why they all get so confusing when you get to these movies that are like 10 parts. But that's the thing now, to have movies all be 10 parts. So what do we know? And then your girlfriend was in it?
Yeah, Helen Mirren, which was not necessarily a secret cameo because they announced it. So if you didn't know, I apologize.
Sorry,
but she's just in a little cameo type role. But she's already been introduced in the franchise as Shaw's mom.
Yeah, which I had forgotten.
You kind of expect her to show up as a fan.
There you go.
In some element, but it's kind of a little fun element. Yeah. And it's the catalyst of meeting Vanessa Kirby and bringing them together and kind of why. Yep. It's important for her to work. And that's what's interesting. That's what's interesting is going back to the family element of this. That's what this works with. You're dealing with Hobbs' family and you're dealing with Shaw's family. It's not the family of them too.
Yeah.
They have their own issues and they have to figure out how to work together. And then when it finally looks like, they're kind of bros now, you get some stuff at the end that reminds you, okay, like we're kind of friends, we're kind of bros, but
not really.
We still got these issues to deal with. Whereas dealing with the two family sides, and Hobbs is a little bit bigger of a family story to deal with than Shaw's, but they both have their thing. That was interesting to get a little more depth of the two characters and get to see them. And I love the fact that they got to deal with some of the Samoan heritage and doing all this stuff. Got to bring in Roman Reigns and Cliff Curtis and a lot of different people.
Like probably every Samoan actor available. So I'm glad.
Well, and I think I told you, but Jason Momoa was supposed to play the Cliff Curtis character. But they couldn't work out the schedule.
Is Cliff Curtis even anything?
He's from New Zealand, I believe.
Oh, then yeah, that counts. They're all.
But he always plays like a Mexican drug lord.
Yes, that's why I was like,
it's funny. It's like two of my favorite actors that play those kind of roles.
I assume they're Mexican and they're not, so that's my bad.
And Clifton Collins Jr.
Yeah.
Both always play these hardcore gangster ones, but they have the most white people names that I've ever heard. Like, I would have never thought Cliff Curtis was from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Or a Mexican drug lord. And Clifton, you know who Clifton Collins Jr. is, right?
I know who he is. He's the guy with the tattoos.
No. Type him in. You'll know who he is as soon as you see him. But he's another guy. He's Clifton, that guy.
Oh,
that guy.
Yes.
He's one of my favorite actors.
Oh, and he's that other one.
And I'm like, your name is Clifton?
I know who you're talking about, yes.
I
like him too.
He's a brilliant
actor.
Who's
the guy with the tattoos all up here? He's such a nice man.
I don't remember his name. He's in the Mayans MC show right now.
Well, I'm sure everyone's in Mayans. Everyone that's ever been a gang member in any TV show or movie is in that.
You're probably accurate because there's a lot of them.
Yes, that's good. I'm glad that we're reaching out into.
And you know who plays the dad in that show?
Yeah.
Edward James Olmos.
Of course. That's so funny. Is he also going to teach us how to do math?
No, he's not.
Oh my gosh. Is there a little somebody, not a little puppet, but a little something?
No, because this is a different kind of, they do all have all the names. If you look, Coco, Adelita, but no, this is a different kind of thing. This isn't
a creeper. There's someone named Creeper. There's always got to be
this is a biker club. This is not.
There's another Lady Paco.
These are not like the corrupts of the Bloods.
This is so good. I'm glad for all of these people. And that's what I'm about to say. I'm glad that we're getting into these
I believe this guy's one
specific films of like we had like the Asian film and now we have something very Samoan and we have a very Mexican show. So I'm loving the diversity.
We just spun away from Hobbs and Shaw.
I love diversity.
the Sons of Anarchy show, although it was a predominantly white biker club, they're not a gang, they're a club.
They're a club.
Oh no, that's not him, that's the older guy. It had an African American club. It had the Mayans. It had the Irish, and all these different clubs that were. He's in there. If you just scroll down, you'll find him. He's one of the main characters of the show.
I'd rather do this. Oh, I love him too.
He's not in the show, but
I wish he was.
Not that I remember anyway. But anyway, so it's funny is like this show spun off to the Mayans because they were kind of associated with the Sons, and they ran. They ended up getting their own show, and it's not a prequel. It's a sequel to that series. So a lot of those actors are shifted over from Sons of Anarchy into this one. Now we got a whole other group because we didn't always see their whole club. I believe Danny Trejo was part of it and everything else too. And then they're also doing I believe another spinoff show and a prequel series for Sons of Anarchy.
I like the diversity, especially in these horrible days we live in of people going after people for what they are.
For the race.
Yes, I can't even handle right now. But
I'm not laughing at that. Okay, so I got to show you all this. So before the show, or right as the show started, she was like peeling this wrapper out of here. It's
a brand new bowl.
And then I thought she finished and she put her nuts in it. And I realized she only tore part of it and then just poured her nuts on top of it.
Well, the show was starting. I had to go. Anyways, the cool thing about a lot of these actors.
Back to Hobbs and Shaw.
No, I'm still now on these actors. I believe he actually.
He's been in a ton of stuff. He was like a Shakespearean actor, I think, or something.
Really?
I think I read that.
He went to prison. Yeah. Former gang member. That's what I like about this is we live in a great society where you can go to prison but become an awesome actor.
Danny Trejo was
Trejo's a great example.
Tim Allen was arrested.
Tim Allen went to prison.
Dealing cocaine.
I mean, even like we have a redemption story like
Robert Downey
Jr. I mean, I love that we live in that kind of a world with that.
Here's the problem, though: is
what I don't love are all the haters.
The problem with that said diversity seems to only work if you're a musician, if you're a sports figure, or you're an actor, because you can't seem to get a regular job if you come out of prison working at a Taco Bell or working at a.
Well, there are.
I know, but I'm saying
that only hire
people struggle more
like
in that. If you don't end up somehow into an entertainment business, everybody still seems to judge you more.
I know.
For some reason, we forgive celebrities, but.
Oh, well.
All right, back to Hobbs and Shaw.
I really enjoyed Hobbs and Shaw. There are some moments that are unbelievable. It's in the trailer, that scene where all the cars are linked together, rolling off the cliff. I'm like, come on. Really?
I believed it.
No.
It was on screen. I saw it.
No. It's a little bit insane.
It's not. Everything in that could have actually happened.
But whatever. It's crazy.
It's one of those, like I said.
You got to suspend belief.
You do, and it knows what it is, and it's basically telling you, get ready. Leave your brain at the door. Let's have fun.
Buy your popcorn.
That's right.
Sip your drink and have fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun movie.
Idris Elba said, and I think it was on the Hot Ones interview, he was talking about his motorcycle. It says very much like Kit from Knight Rider.
It really is.
It kind of does its own thing. It follows what he says, and all that kind of fit together in a really great way. It's a fun movie. I
hope you guys liked it, or you went.
It's got some great cameos in it.
I think you've seen it. It was a #1 movie, and I think it made like $60 million.
Yes, it has some great cameos in it, unexpected cameos. It has some stuff
won't spoil it like other people.
It has some stuff. Dwayne Johnson said in an interview that you get some hints at maybe a new team they're trying to put together for the future, which makes me believe that they're really trying to create. Because even the ending leaves you in like a little.
Yes.
It's a cliffhanger, but not. Where
there's something bigger going on.
Yeah, and I think that's them setting up their own story, because with the fallout behind the scenes of Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel, Johnson's already said he's not coming back.
That's too bad.
He might show up for 10, but he's not in 9. But he's not really necessary, because I think a lot of his entrance into that show, those movies after his initial, were kind of forced. I love them, but they didn't really there's the one he spends the entire movie in the hospital.
Yeah.
After he gets beat up by Jason Statham or whatever.
But then he's like, Daddy's got to go to work.
And he breaks the cast.
I'm like, come on. Dumb.
That's not dumb. People do that.
Oh,
I'll show you after
Lord.
we get off here. I'll show you.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to bust it.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, but it's a fun movie. If you go see it on the biggest, loudest theater you can. It's that kind of movie.
It is. It's great. I had fun. We saw it in Dolby.
Yeah, we always see everything in Dolby.
And I know we're those people.
But it's one of those
people are probably like, "Oh, y'all must have so much money."
We don't.
We
pay
do
for
the monthly subscription. And we pay $20 a month, and you get 3 free.
I like how you're gonna try to justify that we don't have so much money as we continuously talk about Blakey Manor's movie room.
Yeah, well,
and you talked about last week that we had 2 rooms of our house. It's not even used for anything.
Yeah. It's used for movies and books.
But we don't have any money.
We don't have any money. No, because we have to pay for the movies.
Because we have to pay for the house.
To store the movies.
And our little cars that struggle to get anywhere.
Man, it's okay. I got AC. I'm in Texas. I got AC. And I was able to put
That's my face to say we don't have crappy cars.
I know.
Anyway.
Whatever. Living the dream, people.
If you see it, not only do you need to see it in the biggest, loudest theater possible, make sure you stay to the very end of the credits.
Very end.
There's like, technically, I guess, 3 scenes. A couple throughout the credits and one at the very end of the credits. They're just fun scenes to watch. Stay
till the very, very, very end.
Stay to the very end. There's stuff there. But it's fun. It's the exact movie I thought I was going to get. A little more over the top than I expected, but very happily.
Over the top.
We have to do it this way so they can see our muscles. Okay, well, let's not do that. That's embarrassing. For you, I mean. All right, so moving on.
Okay, next.
So Hobbs and Shaw is in theaters now.
All right, what's next?
That's it. No,
oh, okay, what's coming out?
Well, we got to talk about our theater experiences. Did you have anything?
I didn't have a bad theater experience.
There was something you wanted to talk about that I think was at a store or a restaurant. I think it was your Taco Bueno situation. Didn't you want to talk about that?
Taco Bueno?
Drive-thru thing the other night? Remember?
No, why would I want to talk about that?
You said, I'm talking about it on the show, and I said, that has nothing to do with you. I don't care, I'm talking about it anyway.
No.
Okay, well, there was something else you were going to talk about that had to do with, I want to say, going out to eat or something, experience at the store or something. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, then I will.
I don't remember.
So, when we finished Hobbs and Shaw, I went to the restroom, and bless his heart, there was a guy. So, you understand, I say he's a kid, but I mean, if he's a kid, he was 17 or 18. But I didn't realize at first, but it became clear that he was special, kind of special needs kid. So I'm not saying it to make fun of it. It just was a shocking situation, and we always talk about our theater experiences. So I just want to tell everybody. Are you about to take work notes of some sort?
No, I was trying to think, what could I talk about?
When?
For right now, my experience. I'm like thinking, did I have?
Get out of here with that, you weirdo.
I'm ready for TV Tuesday.
So I'm in there. I'm going to the restroom out with the urinal, and there's a little boy over there giving me the side eye. Like, I think he's trying to make sure I'm not watching him or something.
I'm not watching
But
him.
I use etiquette, so we had a stall between us.
Oh, very good.
So the little boy finishes and leaves. And then, of course, I'm watching him. Are you washing your hands, you dirty little creep? He did. But anyway, the other guy came in. Like I said, he had to be sometime between 16 and 18, I assume. Walked in, and he just dropped his entire pants to the floor. Butt, everything is out. And at first, I'm like, I see it out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, what the heck? Did you see that from little boys sometimes in the bathroom? They just drop their whole pants.
Aww,
and they stay at the little urinal.
That's got to be very disturbing.
And their little butt sticking out.
Y'all using the bathroom is very disturbing to me. Just sit on the toilet like normal people.
We have urinals.
That's nasty.
God gave us the privilege to stand up and pee.
But that's nasty because there's people next to you could be looking at your business.
Well, normally there's one on the divider wall, but you know why God gave us the ability to stand up and pee?
Why?
Because we deserve it.
Wow.
You know why? That's why it made y'all. That's why it made y'all have babies, because y'all deserve it. So anyway, I see at the corner, I'm like, and I'm like trying not to look over there, because now you have the new etiquette. You can't look at something weird happening. Yeah. Right. And it looked like me and him were the only two in the bathroom. So I'm like, so of course when you do that, you look like you're not trying to look. And he was standing. He had his hands to the side. He was
just free.
I'm like, man, that guy's he's got some skills there. So I walked away. I was washing my hands. Then I realized he was kind of special. I'm like, okay, so he's going to the bathroom like a little kid. So that was my first thing. The other thing was not even the theater. It was actually happened just a few minutes ago. Or a little while ago when I stopped at the QT for gas. So I stopped to get gas. Then I went in to get a frosty treat and these lovely nuts that she's eating here. Thanks QT for making me pay for them. There's a lady at the nut section restocking the nuts. Trying to figure out how many times I can work the word nuts into the conversation and not be perverted. But what's funny is she walked away. It was an African-American lady. She had some nice braid dreads kind of thing. She walked away to the counter to help a customer. So I walked over to the nuts section, trying to figure out what this nut wanted. And there's a braid laying on the floor.
Oh, no.
It was just laying there. And so I'm like, I wonder if she knows it fell out. Do I say anything? You know, do I say, hey, your hair's over here on the floor? You know, because, you know, QT has an elevated thing. So I'm like, excuse me, hair on peanut aisle. You know, so I'm like, you know what? I've decided I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to walk away. I went and got my frosty beverage. So I was waiting for her to tell me which nuts she wanted. Because they had a plethora of nuts. I remember back in my day, you used to go and say, pick me up some peanuts. There you are. Now I look and I'm like, that's a lot of nuts. So I go back over there. She's working over there again, right? I'm like, okay, now here's the moment of truth. Did she pick up the hair? So did she notice coming back and pick up her hair? Answer is?
Yes.
She did not. She's still working and that hair is still on the floor. So she walks away again to go help another customer. Now I'm picking up the nuts you wanted. I walked away with these. And then I'm confused because she's like, give me the nutrition pack. It says nutrition. But then I'm like, she doesn't like blueberries. Why would she want this? And I'm like, okay, nothing else says nutrition. So this is what she's getting. So I bought backup candy because she yells at something right thing. So I go and get me my treat, my chips that I was going to get.
Frosty beverage.
No, I already had the frosty beverage.
Okay.
That's when I came back to get your nuts.
Gotcha.
Then I left again to go get some nuts. So I had to go back and see. She was back working again. I said I had to go back and see if she got it this time. So I walked back over there and she?
I guess she didn't.
She had not. It was still laying on the floor. So that thing, now she walks away again. Now I'm standing at the nut all by myself again. And I'm looking at the nuts and I'm doing this, looking at that little dreadlock on the floor. It's like this long. It's not like a little short thing.
Did you not see it?
It is fully braided. And I don't know if it was an extension. I'm assuming it was. But it's laying on the floor like a snake. So I'm like looking at the nut section. I'm looking at her like this. I'm looking at the
like that.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, if it was a movie, it would have shot her. Then it would shot the thing on the floor. Then it would shot my face. But people are walking by and going, and nobody says anything. They just walk past it, but they all jump. They walk past again. They're like, one guy like goes, and looks at me like, and I'm like, I did. He looked at me like I did it, and I pointed my head. I'm like, really? Does that look like that came off of me? Although I was tempted to pick it up.
This is so embarrassing.
I was tempted to pick it up and put it on like Tong Po from Kickboxer, be wearing it and be like,
oh my gosh.
And just see if she noted, like I'd hang it down here and be like, this is all I like.
That's not
now.
okay.
So anyway, that was my QT experience.
That's horrible. That is a horrible experience.
Also,
told her.
If you didn't catch our last week's episode, first, shame on you. You should be ashamed of yourself. We're extending it out this week, but I told a story last week, what I've deemed a Chuck Norris debacle, and I'm extending it out. I've had a few entries.
Oh, good.
So I'm extending it out. I have this 3-pack of Missing in Action 1 and 2 in Delta Force. I'm just getting mad again. That you can win. All you got to do is you need to go watch the show, or at least watch the end. I'm going to be nice. Go to the end of the show area. You'll see me holding this up. Listen to the story that I tell you about this. Okay? That's when you'll know. And in the middle of that video, it tells you how to enter for a chance to win this.
Okay.
So it's not on our website. It's on our YouTube channel right here exclusively. But it's last week's show. What did we talk about last week?
Last week, we talked about several things. Let's go
This
find
means
out.
she doesn't know.
We're going to go
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is what we talked about last week.
Oh, but we talked about more than
I know, but
that.
find the episode where we're talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And close to the end of the show, I'm talking about this Chuck Norris debacle. If you want to enter a chance to win this, you get this week. And then we'll say next Sunday on the show, we'll announce the winner. If you want to know how to win this, you have to watch that little part of the show. You don't have to watch the whole show. Just watch that part of the show.
It's funny.
And make sure you subscribe to the channel, too. Hello. So anyway, Chuck Norris right here.
Okay,
And
you're giving it away.
And there's a little old case.
Okay.
What was that?
That's from My Love Lucy. I have something I want to give away.
It's not Jim Cotta, is it?
It's not. I have this cool bag we got.
What is this?
This is a Star Wars.
Why is this a giveaway all of a sudden on our show?
This is a bag. Look, it's got stormtroopers on this side, It's got Darth Vader on this side.
Is this from Celebration?
This is from 2 celebrations ago.
This isn't the one you got. No, that was the Funko bag
This
that you got
is
inside.
from this year's celebration. I got this bag as well. And it says Celebration on it.
Where are you giving away our stuff?
I'm giving these bags away.
How are you giving them away?
You have to send us an email and tell me.
Just send an email.
So,
this says bag.
Send an email, and I want to know which one is your favorite Star Wars movie.
All right.
That's all.
And where can we find said email?
Well, you need to go to the website.
At?
HollywoodMatrimony.com. And then if you scroll down, there's a little thing that says email us. Email me.
Ooh.
And tell me what is your favorite Star Wars movie and say, I want the Star Wars bags. There you go. Free stuff. Also called, I'm finally unpacking.
You're cleaning out your house. This is called, we're cleaning, you want our crap?
No, this is called, we've lived here for almost a year and I'm still unpacking. Me.
My office and everything.
This guy's unpacked. I'm
ready to go. I'm building.
All right. What's coming out on DVDs?
All right. So this week's kind of a big week. The different things coming out.
I'm sorry. I need to cross my legs.
So this week we have Detective Pikachu coming out, which was really fun. Like I don't care anything about Pokemon outside of my son's love for Charizard when he was little. So I thought he might be excited to see the movie. And he was like, I don't want to watch that dumb movie.
He's like, don't want to see that.
But Detective Pikachu's Blu-ray and DVD and 4K, which is a ton of fun. The movie Tolkien, which is based on J.R.R. Tolkien. It's like his life and writing thing. I don't know if it's an accurate portrayal, if it's somebody's idea. I haven't seen it. Nicholas Hoult, who plays Beast in the X-Men movies.
Yes, I like him. He seems like a very nice person. I bet we could all be friends.
The Curse of La Llorona is coming out as well on Blu-ray.
Excited about that.
For the first time today, I had to tell somebody about the Curse coming out. Why are you patting me?
Because you didn't say it loud, did you?
I didn't. I said, I have to say this wrong to you. And he's like, what? It was at the Juno Club today.
Oh.
I went, the Curse of La Llorona. He goes, what? Because I didn't want to scream at the building.
You could have.
I know, but there was old people. One of the guys is kind of handicapped in the chair from the Aikido class, and I don't know why I did that. But anyway, the Curse of La Llorona is coming on Blu-ray.
That is not at all how it is.
It's exactly how it should be said every time. They say it in the movie that way. The lady shows up and she goes, "You are cursed by La Llorona."
She does not even say that. That does not happen.
Anyway, it does. It's the end of the movie. You see, after credit sequence.
Oh my gosh,
that comes out this week. The all-new DC animated feature Batman Hush.
Excited.
Which I'm super stoked for because that was one of the Jim Lee stories that came back. And, mind you, a lot of my packages keep getting sent to our old address. And so I keep going over there. And nobody's answering the door. So obviously I'm not getting said packages because they're not returning them, I'm sure. But today I went over there one more time again. And a package was laying on the porch. So I picked it up. They did not answer the door again. My name's on it. So I took it.
Yeah.
And it was my copy of Batman Hush on 4K. That I just messaged yesterday. Am I getting this? Because it comes out on Tuesday. Usually I get that stuff like a week in advance. So I'm assuming it showed up probably yesterday. Mm-hmm. It's been laying there all day. The movie Palms, which is the one about the old ladies that are the cheerleaders.
Yes, I want to see this so badly.
There's a new Batman Lego movie called Lego Batman Family Matters is hitting. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Some other random stuff.
Well, coming out of the movie theater, I'm realizing now we forgot to watch Otherhood on Netflix.
We didn't forget.
We did. So
I didn't.
We're going to watch it.
I got an email about it. I avoided it.
The only real big movie coming out this weekend, well, there's 2.
There's a bunch of them, actually.
Okay, hold on. We have The Kitchen, starring Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and Elizabeth Moss.
Which you're seeing on Tuesday.
So I may see in that, so we will talk about that. We have The Art of Racing in the Rain, which I'm so excited because it's...
Really?
Yes, it's me and Milo, right?
Yeah,
and the little dog.
Is the dog.
Oh,
well, you know what's funny? So
you'll now, because it's a dog.
You'll now get to hear about it again because the other day I was trying to tell her about this cool press event they were doing for this, but somebody decided to not listen to me when I was talking and made me mad. So when she goes, "Okay, I'm listening," I'm like, "I don't care. I'm not telling you now." So you haven't heard about this until right now, and it's too late to go to it.
What?
You've been taught a lesson. So this week, I think it was this weekend, or it might have been during the week. They were doing a press thing for The Art of Racing, whatever this movie is.
Racing in the Rain.
And it was a thing, a press tour thing with I think the director might have been there, and they were giving like away popcorn and a drink, and you could bring your dog. It was a whole thing you could go
that's
to.
So fun.
It was a little fun thing that they were doing kind of in conjunction with the movie.
Okay,
and,
well, I want to see it just because it's a dog story, but it looks like an interesting drama about the guy's life.
What is this plethora of movies with dogs talking now? Or
I love
memories?
it.
I'm okay with it, but anyway.
Those babies. Okay, then Dora and the Lost City of Gold. So we're going to be Dora the Explorer.
We have to see it because of Best Friends.
Best Friends. I don't know how this is going to work out, but we're going to.
I have a feeling it's going to be very Spy Kids-like and be fun.
I hope so.
I do too. I kind of want to see. I don't care anything about Dora. My kids didn't really ever get into Dora.
I watched Dora.
Of course you did.
Come on, Vamonos.
I know you, but you were an adult when you watched Dora. So don't act like
She's like, how many are there? I'm like, three.
Don't act like you were a kid watching Dora.
There's 3.
But
I do know
the
Dora.
trailers look fun. It looks like it's not taking itself too seriously. It does look like it's Dora the later years, like she's older.
She's older.
So it's not trying to be the Dora cartoon. So it looks like it could be a continuation.
It could be a good one. Then I know you're excited about this. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which is like a little collection of
It's based on some books, I believe, a series of books. And yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 stories.
Okay. Then we have this one called Ode to Joy.
Yeah, I posted the trailer for that one.
We'll see. Brian Banks.
That's the one about the football player that goes to jail.
I've got to see this movie. It's based on the true story.
Somewhere he goes to jail for.
Is it him playing him, or is it
no? That's the guy that played MC Ren playing him. That's the one with
he
one that goes to jail for something he didn't commit, and then it was like in his 20s when he got out.
Yeah, he had like a full scholarship to go play football, and then got wrongfully.
So now he gets out. They're trying to clear his name so he can, and then he's trying to get to the NFL.
But the thing that I guess got me is that this happens a lot.
Yeah.
People are wrongfully convicted, and then I'm like, they've missed their entire lives. What are you going to give them? Nothing.
Well, sometimes they end up being able to sue good money, but that one I want to see too. The Peanut Butter Falcon. Oh my God,
it's
unlimited,
so good. So we'll see.
We find it. The Peanut Butter Falcon is the one. I don't know if I showed you the trailer, but it's Shia LaBeouf and I think Dakota Fanning is in it.
Oh, that sounds good.
I mean, not Dakota Fanning, Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson.
But it's about this little special needs guy with Down syndrome who leaves wherever he lives, I guess, or leaves whoever his. Because I think Dakota Johnson's supposed to be his caretaker, and he leaves. And he has this obsession to want to become a professional wrestler.
I love it.
And he meets Shia LaBeouf, who is, I don't know if he's a criminal or if he's just like a kind of a hippie hobo kind of guy walking in. So they kind of go on this road trip adventure and become best friends. And
that's
the guy that plays the guy with Down syndrome is actually a guy with Down syndrome. And so, but it looks like a great, great, great movie.
I want to see this whenever it makes it to us. One Child Nation is based on really. It's based on the China's population control policy of only having one child,
which doesn't exist anymore. But people are still.
It does.
It doesn't, but people are still doing it. But it doesn't. I think that's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah, so it's dealing with that.
So anyway.
Anyhow, so there's a lot of movies. I think the big one's going to probably be The Kitchen or The Art of Racing in the Rain. And I think for kids,
I think Dora's going to be one of the big ones this weekend because of it being a Nickelodeon kid movie.
Hopefully, Scary Stories gets a good turn at stuff.
Because it is produced by Guillermo del Toro.
And I've got to find Brian Banks because it makes me angry.
I think I had a screening for it, but I had to turn it down because we couldn't go.
The timing. Anyways, we can't see everything. We want to.
But we'll sure try.
Sometimes it's hard. All right. What else?
I think that's it.
All right.
Well, so don't forget on the website, we're having a giveaway. The Ugly Dolls one has ended. It's up there. I got to pull it down tonight. But we are doing a giveaway still for digital copies of Avengers Endgame. So you can try to win those right now.
Yes.
So do it.
Do it now.
I got a cool email from somebody that I need to answer, by the way. Part of I believe it was the Ugly Dolls contest. This is the stuff that kind of fascinates me with these contests. This was not an entry into the contest. I believe so. To win the Ugly Dolls, a lot of these contests I just put a trivia question, or most of them I've been trying to shift to more opinion questions, and so it gives us an idea of how other people think about movies. It may introduce us to something fun that we have never seen, that kind of thing. So in this one, it was tell us your favorite more unusual animated feature and why. And it was related because this movie had some weird character designs and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I had somebody email me. Let me pull it up real quick. they sent me a question instead of a entry, which I found interesting, and I found the question interesting because it's a very simple question, and I just want to make sure I word it right because it's somebody that listens, watches, or clearly follows. They basically says, I'm not too sure what the more unusual animated features are, but would love to hear more. So they're basically wanting to, what I'm referring to.
Okay.
So it's movies, and I'll say it here, but I'm going to answer the email as well because I don't know if she's watching the show. But to me, I think more about unusual films based on their story and or their design. So, like, to me, Paranorman is kind of an unusual animated feature. Coraline. Sorry. Who is Caroline?
I don't know. I know Caroline.
Coraline. Box Trolls. And mostly based on the look and usual.
The Isle of Dogs.
But sometimes it's the weird stories.
The weird things.
Sometimes, to me, it might be just a weird character designs. Like, I love Paranorman. You don't like it as much.
I don't.
Because it was weird.
It was too weird.
Like, the story's normal.
Yeah, the story's fine, but I think the design of this was
which to you made it weird.
Distracting to me.
Yeah, which I thought it gave him so much character. I loved it.
But I loved, like, a Coraline with the button eyes was creepy, but I loved it.
Yeah. So it's that kind of stuff that I look at as, like, when I say the word unusual about animated.
So in the Ugly Dolls, that may be because the felt people, they actually look felty. Like
they're felty and they're all weird and their eyes are misshapen and their heads. So they're unusual looking. Mm-hmm. So the Ugly Dolls movie is not unusual. The character design is unusual, which made me think about, that's the thing I liked about the part of the movie I liked is I love the unusual look of the characters.
Yeah.
So
it makes it interesting.
When I watch another movie, like all the Leica and
yes, they do.
What is the other one? Aardman Studio stuff. I love both of their stop motion animation stuff. They work
so hard on
that. Leica especially because Kubo and Two Strings isn't so much unusual, but it's such a great story. And Missing Link is the same way. And
the interesting thing about Kubo is that within the animation, they're using paper with the origami.
But see, I wouldn't look at Missing Link and Kubo as unusual. I look at those as more epic or more just classic.
Well, Missing Link has a really good look to him. The human characters in Missing Link,
they look weirder than he does.
Have the very
but see, even then, I didn't find them unusual. Whereas, like, the Box Trolls are all like, and Paranorman is kind of, and Coraline's, I would even probably say, like, Nightmare Before Christmas is unusual looking.
Yeah.
And Corpse Bride, some of that's unusual looking. But again, that does boil down to a matter of opinion.
It's opinion. It's what you think.
So I'm going to, if the person here, her name's Amber, I'll say it. If Amber, if you're watching, we're talking about your email.
Thank you for your email.
I'm going to answer your email, so don't worry in case you are watching. But that's kind of what I was going. But I thought it was interesting.
That's good.
This one, and I've had a couple other people that have responded to me about contests, which I always find intriguing. Like, they're engaging with me. They're not just entering the contest. So I had one guy that I think it was for Double Impact, I think, and he was talking about his favorite Van Damme movie, and I think he talked about Expendables 2 when Van Damme played, get this name, Verlaine. He was the villain. And he's been wanting to come back to play Verlaine's twin brother.
He loves doing twins, doesn't he?
But in this case, Verlaine died, so he could come back and just play a different character. This time with a Cockney accent or something. But anyway, in the thing, he posted his response to the contest. I think it was that one. But then said, I would also love to see, I think I said, who would you want to see, or who, I don't remember what it was, but he said, I would love to see so-and-so and Jackie Chan. I think he said Jackie Chan in the Expendables movie. And he's like, who would you want to see in the Expendables movies? So, I was able to, I sent an email to him. I was like, I'd love to see this. And
I want to see more women. Well, we had some.
Yeah.
We had what's her name?
Well, I think I'm fine with it. I want to see, like, Cynthia Rothrock and Don the Dragon Wilson, people that were other old school action stars in it, But I do want to see Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris. I mean, not Chuck Norris, Jackie Chan, people like that were big icons. But anyway, sorry, I got excited. So, Amber, I'll shoot you an email and give you my official response.
We got excited.
So, anyway, that's the only other contest we have going on right now, the Avengers and the Chuck Norris one, if you have to go to the previous show to watch. But there are some other ones that should be popping up in the next day or so.
Very cool. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Don't forget to go to the contest page and check out all of the content that's being posted every single day. Thank you for watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. Also, we're on Instagram and we're on the Twitter at HollywoodMatterMATR.
And here on the YouTube, make sure you subscribe either the button down here or if it shows up over there. And you can check out new trailers here. of different stuff coming up. And don't forget about our other shows throughout the week, whereas tomorrow, join me for the all-new episode of Martial Arts Movie Monday, where I take a deep dive into a random martial arts film from my collection, and then right back here on Tuesdays.
We'll see you on TV Tuesday. I already have my list ready of what we're going to talk about.
We discuss all things fun and TV, old and new, and on my weekly update on Thursday. And be on the lookout for my random update for my new little mini show, What's on My Desk.
Well, I'm going to do a What's on My Desk.
Totally fine. So it's just random pop-ups.
It'll be fun.
So it'll be a good time.
Thanks so much for watching.
See you next week, or you'll see us. Good day.
I have to go turn up the camera.